Damn, Ingenious made the beat.
Yo, Coach Life fans. Welcome to another episode of the Coach Life Podcast Radio. I am, of course, your host, the casual one, Coach Steve.
Yes, sir.
Join with me, as always, the illustrious Professor, Coach Ryan. How we doing, brother?
We're doing good, man. It's another day. Great day. So feeling good. Glad to be here.
Today, we have a not so positive, but positive pod.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to be talking about losses.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure we can go on so many different tangents on losses, but we're going to stick to a positive spin on losses, and that's the lessons learned in a loss. So going into losses, and I want to be able to, first and foremost, I want to start with a story.
Yeah.
That is very near and dear to my heart, partly because this was the first opportunity that I was given to coach, to be the head coach of a team. When I coached at St. Joseph High School in Westchester, shout out to Coach Griff for giving me the opportunity to do that, by the way.
Yes, sir.
Coaches giving coaches opportunities. Love it, right? But he gave me the opportunity to coach the JV team, and I'm blanking out now on the team, partly because I'm telling the story, probably. But we were playing a team, and short of the short, like the first half, man, like we were just running through this team. Like every play that I called worked. And again, this was my first opportunity as a head coach. The offensive coordinator for the team. And like I said, every play worked. It was almost to the point where, like, do you remember the times when you were playing a video game with like your little brother or little cousin or something like that? And you can just run through them. And it's no, it doesn't matter what you did. Everything worked. We had a torrential downpour at halftime that stopped the game. So I had to get all the kids on the bus. We sitting there, and all the kids, I mean, they're still hyped. They're still ready to go because we landed into this team. And I'm excited. Like, I'm trying not to show it, but I'm excited. I feel like I'm playing a game of Madden, and I'm blowing a team out right now, right? So that said, I get off the bus. It stops raining. We get everybody off the bus. We get everybody stretched. We get back on the field, and we proceeded to give up a 32-point lead and lost 48-32. This team scored about 48 points on us.
Good Lord. Straight.
In a half.
So you ought to score the second half.
No, sir.
Good Lord.
Shut down. Everything we did didn't work. I kept the ball on the ground. We got a wet field. We got all this stuff that's working against us, right? I was just hoping that we were going to see a little bit of resiliency after the third quarter. That didn't happen at all. Didn't happen at all. The reason why I take that loss the worst is because the kids didn't give up. We didn't lose because the kids put us in a position to lose. We lost because we got out coached.
Oh, okay.
I got out coached,
Okay.
and it was blatant. Like I said, they knew everything that I was going to do before I did it. They adjusted the way that, I was calling plays and then like give my quarterback 2 plays just so we can try to audible out of stuff. Like it was a mess. And then you're trying to do that with a very, very young freshman quarterback that's coming in high school.
Okay.
It's a lot for him to take on. And again, a shout out to that team. They did an amazing job. They kept the fight going, but at the same time, again, we got out coached. And
can I ask you, would that have happened without that big break at halftime with the weather, or do you feel like your momentum got cut?
That's a great question. And that's I guess the question that will never be answered, right? Like I'm never gonna. One is still a tough pill to swallow.
Yeah.
But it taught me so much. So much. It taught me so much. Now, I can't say that if we didn't have that giant rainstorm that that we would have won that game, or we would have continued to run through them. That coach, I think, again, was just making different adjustments. I think again he was learning from his loss.
Yeah.
As he was losing each quarter, he was learning. And he didn't look at each one of these quarters as I'm losing this game. He was playing chess while I was playing checkers.
Wow.
And the biggest thing that I learned from this loss was more so as a manager, as a supervisor, as a coach, as a mentor, the best thing that you can do is put people in positions to win.
Yeah. Absolutely. Man, yeah. I can see why that pill is still not yet swallowed.
It's pretty heavy. It's pretty heavy. But when we talk about loss, and again, in any type of situation, whether it's in sports, in your relationship, in your personal life, again, you're gonna have challenges.
Yeah.
You're gonna have challenges. You have to figure out a way to take those losses that you may feel are quote unquote losses and turn them into lessons and build upon those things.
Yeah.
So when we talk about some of the lessons that can be learned from a loss, which we will kind of resort back to that same situation. But do you have a situation where you learned from a significant loss?
I would say, keeping it sports related, I went to college to play baseball, ended up playing basketball. So transition sports, played one season my senior year, made it into the starting rotation. Was getting significant minutes off the bench.
Cold, by the way, cold. I watched the games.
And we were playing against Aurora, down by like 1 or 2 points. And somebody put up a shot missed. I'm in a perfect position for the rebound and a putback. Got the rebound, throw the putback up, and it rims out. And I'm like, 1 + 1 is supposed to equal 2, right?
Right.
I box my man out. I'm in position. I get the rebound. I put the ball back up. It doesn't go in. And I'm like, devastated, man. Should I even be playing basketball? Like, what's going on? Why? Pretty much a point blank range shot didn't go in. So, yeah, man, I had to reevaluate what I was doing with my life. Took it right back to the basics. Like, do I stay in this spot and sulk and go inward? Or do I say, hey, I need to work to put myself in a position where this doesn't happen again?
What's
And
funny
then,
about that?
yeah.
You had to learn how to be resilient.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And it happened. It could have happened at home. It could have been to be you, in a positive environment. Everything could have been, but we were on the road in a hostile environment, 3 or less seconds left. So the situation just wasn't ideal.
Right.
And then the aftermath wasn't ideal. Like, I got to face my team. I got to face, the interviews that come. I got to face my coach. I got, you know what I'm saying? But it was like, hey, you can, take it in, hey, let it affect you for a second. But at the same time, no, pick your head up, because this isn't the end. You got more games to play. You got more practices to have. You got more people to see. You can't stay in that sunken state forever.
It's funny because, again, it tests your ability to bounce back.
Mm-hmm.
You have some adversity. You figure out all of the hurdles that you have in front of you, setbacks that you have in front of you, and then you figure out a way to push through and persevere.
Yeah. And that allowed me to see a piece of me that I wouldn't have seen with a win, if that makes sense.
That makes total sense.
Yeah. I needed to see that part. I needed to face that part so I could overcome that part. It's there, but a win wouldn't let me see it. I had to see it in a loss.
True enough. And again, in these losses, we get an opportunity to self-reflect.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You said it yourself that you looked at it as, should I be playing this sport anymore? That's how deep that loss to you cut.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think I've played a lot of individual sports, if at all. So I wasn't a boxer, didn't do any fighting, and those stuffs are kind of like individual. From a team aspect, losing is already tough, but when you feel like you have a direct impact on a loss and you have a team connected to you, it's like, man, I didn't just let me down, I let everybody down. So that
everybody was counting on me.
Yeah. So that part of the reflection is tough, because it's like, it wasn't just me that was affected by this. What I did affected those around me too. So that part of the reflection is a little bit tough too, because it's like, I have to face these people that are part of this team as well, So that's another hard part of it, but it's also a building point too, because that's when a team really rallies around the person and say, hey, we win together, we lose together, but that's what a team is.
100%. You got to have that team around you, that support group. Right? You sometimes need that support group, which sounds like a future pod. Sounds like a future pod. Just drop that dime right there.
Oh, yeah.
To circle back to self-reflection, and you said it yourself, this was, you had to look really deep into yourself and kind of reevaluate everything, right? And you said that not only that you felt like you let yourself down, you let your team down, right?
Yeah.
The exact same feeling I felt again with this loss at Joe's. It was that stung, because I felt like I let my players down, I let my team down, right? You felt like you could have put them in a better opportunity, a better situation so that they can win. And I failed them. But you have to come to terms that you failed, right? And I think that's something that a lot of people don't want to necessarily accept, right? I can accept the fact that I screwed myself over, but sometimes I can't necessarily accept the fact I screwed somebody else over, at least somebody that I care about, right?
Somebody you care about.
Exactly. Let me clarify that.
Right.
People will be like, well, there's a lot of people I'll plan on screwing over, but I digress.
Absolutely. Yeah, but you want to protect those people. You want to put not only yourself, but you want them to have a positive outcome. You want them to be put in a good position. And again, just feeling like you're dropping the ball or you letting other people down as well as yourself. Yeah, that's a tough reflection point.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But it helps you learn. You have to, again, looking at that loss, you self-reflecting on the pitfalls, the decisions that you made, the actions that you made, the behaviors that you have. Like, again, looking deeper so that you can actually see where your real flaws are, where your real issues are, so that you can really reevaluate whether or not you need to make some changes.
Yeah. Because what would have been your reflection had you all won 62-0? What would have been your change? What would have been your,
I'm gonna tell you right now, bro. I'm going into the next game and I'm running the same plays, bro. Like this works. Like,
yeah.
twins right, double slants all day long. Like, we literally, again, I wouldn't have learned anything. And I'm appreciative so much of that loss because, again, not only did it help me become a better coach for my team and for myself, it gave me a blueprint of how to be a better manager in my current role. Because now, again, like, I could do the same thing over and over and over again. Our job in dispatch is fairly repetitive. You get an emergency call, you get a corrective maintenance call, you dispatch it out. It's fairly repetitive. But again, we don't have to make it repetitive, right? We can do some things to break the monotony out of it, some kind of way. And it's helped me to become more creative. It helped me to become not just one-dimensional. And I think that's how I got beaten that game. Because, again, I was very one-dimensional.
Okay.
Having the opportunity to take that loss, be able to self-reflect on my actions, my decisions that I made, the behavior that I was displaying, because, again, I was feeling great. Like, we were scoring touchdowns. And I'm out here Tiger Wood fist pumping, like, it's like we just won the game. Like, again, it helped me understand where I went wrong. And again, to gain some more insight on my strengths that I made in that game.
Yeah.
The weaknesses that I've had in that game.
Yeah.
And in areas that I need to improve in.
Yeah.
So let's transition. You made your loss. You tried to, you have all the adversity in front of you. You've done some self-reflecting. What is next?
You got to learn how to adapt.
Can you say that for the people in the back?
People in the back, you got to learn how to adapt.
Bars, just in case they didn't know.
Just in case.
Listen, it's really cool to know your flaws, to know where your issues are, to know all these things that you need to change and fix and apply. But if you're not adapting, that means the doing part, right? Is that the doing part?
That's some action.
That's the action part, right? That's the part that we gotta have to do, right?
Yeah.
That sounds like a previous pod. Putting in the work. You see how everything kind of led into each other?
Yeah. It's all tying together. It's all connected.
It's all connected. It's like a circle. It's like a circle.
You being a manager, a supervisor, a coach, this frustrates me. I want to know if it frustrates you or what's your response when somebody's not doing what they know to do. So it's not somebody who doesn't know and you have to instruct them, but somebody who knows what they're supposed to do. You correct it and their response is, I know. I know.
So I'm going to be honest. I used to get really irritated with that person. Like, really irritated with that person. The person that says that I know, like, these are things that I'm making mistakes. I'm making these mistakes. I'm not focused. I know all of these things, but I'm not changing any of them.
Yeah.
I don't want to change any of them. because that requires work.
Mm-hmm.
And I think one of the things that kind of helped me not become so frustrated with that individual or individuals is just I have to understand their capacity at that moment.
Okay.
I
Okay.
look at my team and I shouldn't even say my team. I just look at people a lot different than I think some people do. And we may share some sentiments on this.
Yeah.
I look at people as a empty jar.
Mm-hmm.
Some people are bigger jars, some people are smaller jars, some people are thicker jars, some people are skinnier jars.
Yeah.
Right. And I don't mean that for the person's personal like size.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. That's how much that person is willing to take.
Mm.
How deep is the well?
Yeah. Yeah.
For some people, how deep is the thimble? Because there are some individuals that will go off in a microsecond
Yeah.
because they can't take as much,
Mm-hmm.
or they're not built to take as much, or they haven't conditioned themselves to take as much.
Yeah.
Again, being able to adapt.
Mm-hmm.
When I look at those individuals that tell me that they know, I could go my dad's route, which is usually you don't know. And I'm going to tell you exactly why you don't know. And the way that he says it is always very, is very comforting at the end. at the end of the conversation. But the way that I usually go about it now is I try to understand the whys behind the person, the whys in which they won't change.
Okay.
That sometimes for some people is like a no-no because they're like, well, I'm not going to spend my time on a person that's not willing to change.
Mm-hmm.
My question, my response to that would be, well, how do you know if you're not willing to put the time in on the person?
Mm.
And again, we talked about this on numerous pods. Our jobs as mentors, as coaches, as leaders, is to pour into people.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why you have to really look at yourself and really self-reflect and really understand how deep is the well.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that assessment is vital. Sometimes it's split second too, because depending on how you respond with that, I know, that lets me know if I can pour or if I can't. Because if you're like, no, I already know. Where if you know, then you should be doing. And if you're not doing, there's a reason why you're not. You know what? Okay, got you. You got a thimble. I'm not even going. Cool, got you. But if you're like, oh, I know. Do you really? Well, let's talk about it. Are you sure? Oh. So it's like they want to be confident and say that they know, but I can tell that they really don't, and that they're open to listening and to a pour. So then I'm like, okay, we can work with that. But somebody that's arrogant with that, I know, and they clearly don't. All right, go be great.
You know what that person's missing?
What's that?
A little bit of humility.
Ooh,
just a tiny bit.
I didn't know we could curse on this pod.
Oh, that's a curse word.
That's
for real.
A curse word.
That is definitely a curse word. We might get canceled. So we talked about accountability. We talked about adapting, right? And getting out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
Which again, in order to get out of your comfort zone, you gotta kind of get humble. You kind of gotta understand you're not invincible.
Yeah. And I think in that similar adaptive conversation, it's like, you know what? I really don't know. And I can't be afraid to say that I don't. I can't be afraid of what I feel like that's going to make me look like. If I need information that I don't have, I have to communicate. Like, hey, I just messed up back here. You probably got the answers that I need. I don't know what's going on. Help. I need help.
What is so bad about raising your hand for help?
I don't know where it starts, man, but it's like for one, it hits the pride. Like I should already know. People are gonna think XYZ about me if I say I don't know something. I might get made fun of. The person I'm asking might reject me or think that I should already know. So there's like all these fears that creep in real quick. It's like boom, 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 boom. And we pretty much self-sabotage and shut ourselves down when we could be right there at the place getting the help that we need.
As a coach, as a mentor, how do you feel in those situations where you see the mentoree go through that same mental process, a mental break?
It's tough to see it because I've lived it. So I've been in that same spot.
Mm-hmm.
So I just position myself and open and avail myself and almost initiate the conversation or the interaction to help them get over it. Because I like I said, I've been in that spot where I'm like, man, I need help, but I don't want to say anything.
Mm-hmm.
Boom, I can see it. I spot it. Okay. Hey, what's going on? How's it going? Boom, 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 boom. Oh, man, you know, that used to trip me up back in the day. Oh, yeah? Oh, yeah, man. It's been plenty of times I didn't know what was going on. Wow, okay. So now they feel comfortable to share their discomfort because I've been vulnerable and showing humility to say, hey, I don't know it all. I didn't know it all. But now I know a little bit more. I know about what, so again, in that split second of knowing, like, if this person is able to receive, if this person is able to adapt, or if I'm able to show them something about myself, being a little vulnerable, that can pull them over that hump of fear of, I don't want to say anything, or rejection or anything like that. So it's instinctive.
Mm-hmm.
It's an instinctive type of feel when you working with that person and you building that relationship. So you can tell their confidence level. You can see if they really know it, if they're being shy, or if they don't know it and they're trying to cover it up. So the relationship kind of dictates what happens in those moments.
100%. 100%. I kind of want to circle back real quick on again, because you touched on a bunch of things in how you process it for somebody that doesn't understand it, or can't accept it, or is not humble enough to understand it.
Mm-hmm.
I relate this back to when I played at Benedictine University, when I was on the sideline, and when I played offense. So when I was on the sideline and I watched our defense play, and our defense make mistakes, or or they do something good, right?
Mm-hmm.
And watching the reaction of the team, because you got to remember, when I was at St. Joe's, I didn't see the sideline, so this was a new experience for me. It was 22 of us, and it was 22 of us, and that includes the coaches. So being on the sideline and being able to see everybody's like reaction, like you all these different guys from all these different high schools, the ones that have won a bunch of games and ones that haven't won a bunch of games, like the reactions are very different. Like how humble certain people are in losses versus how pissed others are who's never lost before. So they don't know how to understand this and take that loss, right? They don't know how to process it.
And again, when we kind of started talking about this, I was saying an athlete that came to mind for me was Floyd Mayweather, and how there's a lot of things that we didn't get to see or don't see about his character because he never experienced a loss. So it's like, is he, a lot of people talk about his humility, or they talk about, as him being a promoter now, what if his fighter loses? How does he respond to that? Because I don't lose, you shouldn't lose. You know what I'm saying? So can he be empathetic? Can he be genuine? So there's a lot of things that you learn from winning, for sure. But there's also things that you learn from a loss. And athletes that go from winning all the time to having to deal with that loss, yeah, it's interesting to see their reaction because some of them just don't know how to deal
It's a new
whatsoever.
experience.
Yeah.
It's a brand new experience for me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have this type of perspective because I've never experienced it before.
Yeah. Yeah.
Again, when we talk about losses, they prompt a reevaluation process of priorities.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things you said, which, man, it's like I wrote this. One of the things that you said earlier was missing that shot made you reevaluate, should you even be doing this?
Yeah.
Like, should I be doing this? Like, I said the same thing coaching. After taking that loss, I'm like, man, Griff made a horrible mistake. Should not be coaching. Should not be coaching.
Yeah.
But no, he had that faith in me because he had that faith in me, and I was able to, again, to self-reflect and rebound for the next game and keep going. But it's not until you have the perspective and you reorganize your priorities until you're able to really, really bounce back from that situation.
Yeah. The loss teaches you to go back, reevaluate, prioritize what you can do, so it lets you see what you did that was sustainable. Like, okay, there's some good things. There's some not so good things. Winning is great, but it doesn't give you the boost, or it doesn't give you the drive for improvement like it should. Like you said, had we won that game, I'd go out there and run the same plays next time. But that loss will put you on the practice field and have you developing new strategies, getting new skills, seeing players in different areas and in a different light. And now you come back, and that first half, next game, you be up 50-0 because you learned something new that you wouldn't have learned in that win. So there's a great perspective that a loss can give you if it's handled properly.
Man.
But
allowing you to redirect. Look at that.
Yeah. But if we stay in that soaking place of discouragement and, oh man, blah, 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 then no, we're going to waste the value that can come in that loss.
Oh, that was slick. Say it again, please.
We can lose the value.
We waste the what?
We waste the value that comes in that loss. And that's the worst thing that you can do, man. To, again, going back to that person that says they know all the time, it's like, okay, you see what you see or know what you should do different, or you have this opportunity to go left when you went right, or whatever the loss does, it gives you an opportunity to grow and to change. You have it, and then you end up doing the same thing next time. What was that loss for?
So not only did you lose, you didn't learn nothing.
Didn't learn nothing. And now you're going to have to get on and get blown out again and again for it to sink in. Like, how many losses in a row do you have to take before you start to reevaluate, get a different perspective, change things up, self-reflect, humble yourself? Like, if it's not working, it's not working. You got to change something.
Why is that? Again, it goes back to work. It all falls back to work. Yeah. And when we have losses and work is required, because all losses require work. You work for that loss. I'm just putting that out there. You already did work to lose.
Yeah.
Even if you didn't do anything, you did some work to lose. By not doing nothing, that was the work that you put in.
Yeah.
Now, if you just did a little bit more, what would the outcome be then? And I think there's the frustrating piece for a lot of a lot of mentors that they have, where they have with their mentorees, is where they feel that frustration that I gave you the nuggets to be successful, and why aren't you just successful? Well, they met their cap in their cup.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. You know, you filled that thimble up for them, and that's all that they're at. And you're expecting them to be a mason jar, and
exactly. They can't
not
take
them.
it. That's not them right now. And the only way it's going to change is if they self-reflect, they put the work in, they start to become humble, they start to make the adaptation and say, you know what, I need to start making these changes. Yes, I know these are the changes that I need to make, but I'm actually going to put some action behind the actual changes.
Absolutely. And that mentor has to change their perspective too. Like I said, he can't keep trying to force feed it. You know, you give the little that they can take, and when you see that growth, then you give a little bit more.
I'm gonna say there has been times where I've gotten frustrated with the mentoree because I'm pouring into you and you're just not getting it. Just like you said before, right? I've been there as well. And being in those situations, and one of the things that I've learned is how much to pour, like you said, and then how much to pull away. Like, you may be a thimble, but I'm not filling the whole thimble up.
There's gonna be some room in there.
It's gonna be a lot of room in there. You're gonna get a dropper inside of that thimble, but it's gonna be a quarter the way. Like, that's it. Like, I want you to work for the rest of these drops. Like, I need to see that those drops are actually getting utilized, right? If they're getting utilized in the right way. So we can continue to spoon feed you, as opposed to just continue to pour into somebody and become frustrated that they're not immediately changing. Because that's not gonna work. That's not gonna work
at all. And you're not being adaptable as a coach. You know, if things are strategic, and if things are about, you know, constant evaluation, constant reflection, self-awareness, then if you see that there's a delay in their process and their procedures, then you have to alter what you're giving. Just, you got your timeline, you expect them to follow that timeline the way you want it to be. It doesn't always work like that.
100%. And I think in doing all of that, you have to have some empathy and some compassion. You have to have an understanding for where people are. You have to have an understanding for where you are, and have some compassion for yourself. I think that's what's missing for a lot of people, is that they don't give themselves enough grace to make mistakes. Like, my son is like that. If he don't get it, he's mad. Like, stop being mad because you don't understand it.
Right.
Just know, and now again, you got the one part is the self-reflection. Like, the realization, right? He understands, like, this is a problem. So great that you understand this is a problem. Now adapt. Right. Now being able to flip the switch. And I think that's the hard part for a lot of people, is that they don't give themselves enough grace to make a mistake and be like, I messed up. Now what can I do to change the mistake?
I think that's like something we've talked about before, that perfectionist mindset. Like, I have to get it right every time. If I don't, throw it all away. I'm done. You know, and ain't nothing gonna be perfect, man.
No,
nothing. You know, so we have to be compassionate with ourselves, and then the people that we're working with, and the people that we're leading, and the people that are leading us. We have to be empathetic and have compassion with them. You being an offensive person, you played offense, you coached offense. You know, you see a guy out there running his routes, and, you know, he shouldn't have ate that popcorn. He keep dropping the ball. You're going to be like,
Are you talking about me?
You could be like, you know, why ain't you catching the ball? Or you could be like, all right, I understand it's difficult, but let's keep working on it. Let's find some ways to improve. You know, and they say, like, great players don't always make the best coaches because they have a certain expectation of what they feel like things should be, how they should go. And they can't always empathize with somebody with less skills than they have.
Very true. Very true. Very true. I know a couple coaches that are just like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, one of the other things that that again I think is very crucial for a mentor, a coach, a manager, a supervisor, whomever, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's very, very important for them to have an understanding of when to pull back.
Yeah. Yeah.
When to pull back. Because sometimes
Mm-hmm.
again, you need to pull back.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you need to reevaluate how much
Yeah.
your pour is,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like
Yeah.
that's the biggest thing that I see a lot of mentors and coaches miss, is that they don't know when to pull themselves back.
Yeah. Yeah. That's huge, man.
I heard this a while ago, and I'm paraphrasing it because again, it was a long meme that I saw on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
But it said again, not pouring into somebody is great, but again, knowing when to stop is very crucial.
Yeah.
You can beat on somebody's door consistently and try to get them to let you in, right? And let show them the way, right?
Mm-hmm.
Stop doing that. You get further, you'll get further if you show them through their window.
Mm.
They're comfortable because they're still in the house, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
They're still in the house, but they still can see you.
Mm-hmm.
They can still understand it. They still can see from an example standpoint.
Right.
They can see you walk the walk. They can see
Right.
what you're doing from that perspective. And then that can get them comfortable enough to come to the door and actually
Mm-hmm.
walk through, right?
Yeah. Yeah. No, that makes perfect sense. And there's going to be moments where we feel like we want to be more hands-on than we should be, but there's also going to be that point of like, I have to let go. I have to step back. I'm not leaving, but I'm just stepping back a little bit to give them that growth space. They need that growth. I mean, what would it look like if you were still had your hands on your son's bike as he's riding it? It's like, no, I need to be here. I need to hold on to this. And he probably like, dude, let it go.
Handicap.
Matter of fact, go in the house. I got this.
Exactly. I'm out there holding the bike while nobody's on it. Just trying to keep it up.
Yeah, but it's like you guide them, to a certain point, and then it's like, I have to step back because if I don't, they're never going to get it on their own.
Once you have the realization, you've built up some kind of resiliency.
Mm-hmm.
You've self-reflected. You've come to terms with your issues, actions, decisions, behaviors, what have you. You've been able to adapt.
Mm-hmm.
You've been able to be humble. You have some humility about yourself. You understand your perspectives. You understand your priorities.
Mm-hmm.
You got your new direction, your new goal, right? Your new redirection.
Mm-hmm.
You show yourself some empathy, some compassion. You're now able to continue to persevere.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is where all the big wins come, right? This is where you achieve the actual success, right? Because you made it. You're over the finish line.
You have an opportunity to meet the obstacle that you faced in your loss.
Man, an opportunity.
Yeah. So after you've done all those other things to persevere, you have to meet the obstacle that defeated you last time. Some people try to avoid it. They're like, you know what? I'm not going to do no more layups because I don't want to take that loss again. Some people like, you know what? I'm not going to coach no more. I'm going to let somebody else run the offense and I'm going to just coach the defense because I don't want to take that loss again. In order to persevere, You have to meet the obstacle that defeated you last time.
And that requires strength.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That requires work.
Mm-hmm.
That requires all of the keys that we literally just talked about.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
If you are applying those things, you are significantly growing from your loss.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what? Doing all of those things, it doesn't necessarily stop you from losing again.
No.
But you keep going. But you
That
keep doing it.
perseverance.
You
That
keep
perseverance.
persevering. Yeah. It doesn't guarantee a victory, but it guarantees to put you in a better place.
You know what I'll relate this to? And we can relate to this very simply for all of the 80s babies that's out there right now listening to this. And even some of the older crowd. We got a nice little older crowd following us too. So shout out to everybody following, all of our followers.
Yeah.
I relate this to the old days of Nintendo.
Ooh.
Remember when you used to play Super Mario Brothers?
Mm-hmm.
And you made it to like world 3 of 1 because you skipped. You went to the second level and skipped and went to level 3, because if you go to level 3, you can get all the Mario lives if you do it right. But anyway, I digress. And then your mom calls you and she tells you to turn the game off. There is no save button.
Wasn't no saves back then.
You just had to get real good at losing.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually, with all those losses, you were able to build on a big win.
Yeah.
That sounds like a future pod. Very much so. Sounds like a future pod.
Yeah, man. It's all connected. It's all, it's one big circle.
Big circle. Big circle. All right. Closing remarks. Coach Ryan, any closing remarks before we get out of here?
Man, fight the fear. I think the fear of a loss is actually worse than the loss itself. So fight the fear, push through it. I'm gonna get real rhythmic right now. Fight the fear and persevere, man. You gotta just fight the fear and persevere.
We need a beat behind that. Shout out Ingenious, man, for giving us the intro.
Oh yeah.
Got a lot of great feedback on that. Again, yeah, man. We need to put some bars behind that. Tell Ingenious to whip something up for you.
Hook it up.
I'm gonna close with this.
Mm-hmm.
The truest test of a character is not how they handle success, but how they respond to their losses. That's the person that I want to learn from.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The deeper the loss, the more defeats, the stronger, the more resilient, the better equipped to navigate through challenges that person is going to be.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
Lessons in the loss. It's all right to take an L every once in a while.
Yeah.
Be okay swallowing it. It's okay. Because the cool part is new level, new devil. And then you get to do it all over again. That's all the cool over again. Part.
Oh yeah.
But at least this time you know how to get to the goal. So
yeah. Yes, sir. Dropping them dimes.
You know it. As always, if you like what you heard from your Coach Life family here, please like and subscribe if you want to hear more. Definitely go check out some of that merch.
Oh yeah.
Got some nice merch out there right now. I know Coach Washington got out a couple new shirts. I see.
Is it on the site yet? I
believe it's on the site. Okay. This was on the site. He didn't go pre-wear them first.
He didn't have this one from us.
Exactly. I think I might have to go get another color sweatsuit also. Fall's coming up.
Oh yeah.
So with all this rain, probably need another sweatsuit
Man,
anyway.
for real. Go back and check out them other pods too, the previous pods.
Man, can you tell them again?
Go back and check out the previous knowledge that we've been dropping.
Yes. Build upon the plethora. 6 episode. Yes, plethora. It's the word of the day.
Plethora.
Build upon that knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
Again, go back and keep pouring back into yourself. I think it's super important to continue to pour back into yourself because, again, we're all coaches at the end of the day, and that's all we do is pour into people day in and day out. You do it with your loved ones every day.
Mm-hmm.
So, again, pour back into yourself.
Yes, sir.
As always, family, stay positive, my friends.